Hi, I'm Sandgardendick and welcome to our Greywater system. We're going to tour the whole thing in a few minutes, but I should tell you right off the bat, if it looks complicated, it's only because nature is complicated. We just try to simulate the kinds of ways nature cleans her water, and it's good fun. I should also tell you, this is a pretty small area. It's about the size of a normal city lot, 70 feet long by 40 feet wide or so. So come with me. We're going to start at the least desirable spot where the water, actually gray water, comes from the house, from our washing machine and everything else, and heads down towards the reservoir into this system that I'm standing in now. It's just awful stuff. I just don't know how anybody can live with their gray water.
Well, it doesn't look like much, but there's where the water comes in from the house. It's underground, and that's a pipe that spreads the water at the head of this 8-foot by 4-foot, 2.5-foot wide bed. It's designed after mycologist Paul Stamen's suggestion of layers of fungal mats. I don't know if they're working for sure, but sure is a lot of biology to get through before you get to this corner, which is simply the pickup from the drainage from this bed. And from there, we're going to walk over to this corner in just a second, and I can show you where the reservoir is. Okay, this is more just to orient one. You see a dock. I'm walking along some growing beds and huge pile of vegetation in the background. That's the final reservoir where all waters come down to the bottom of this circle. We'll go over there. Okay, I'm standing on that dock. If we're lucky, we'll see some fish and stuff. There's a great deal of life in the reservoir. This area and the dock are barricaded off because the water hyacinths are so prolific. Let me pull one out and show it to you. Well, here's a typical one of these water hyacinths. As you can see, they're really huge. And on these offshoots, you should be able to see here's some quite nice young white fibers. And those sit there and filter out the water and eventually become like that. So that's how it works. Until just very recently, we've never been able to release our gray water, so we've stayed out of code by keeping it a fully constrained system, or contained. But now we've added an overflow valve, and so that's our first experiment with real gray water that's released. I'll just show you quickly what we're going to do with it. I'm going to turn around and go around this big manzanilla and down to that corner, and we'll look back. We're behind that manzanilla, and the gray water system was projected out to protect it, but it ends right there, and you can see we have an overflow, which is what coming from our sink right now. And that will go down and feed this edge of the property and create a visual barrier and a source of edibles. So now we're going to resume kind of the fun part. There's the reservoir with the water hyacinth, and just a little over here is a hole, and we're going to go in there and take a peek at the yoga pond. Okay, here we're arriving at the yoga pond. Guess there's too much vegetation to go out pretty far. Anyway, this is just a little side loop of the from the reservoir. Produces mostly aeration, and then it goes through a simulated stream. So it's just a nice place to hang out and dangle your feet. And, this is kind of my office area. And now we're just going to kind of walk with the camera around the chicken fodder yard, because the gray water system from this point is being pumped uphill from the reservoir, actually back to that pond where I started this little gig. Yeah, there's a chicken yard, and that shade they sure like. But here's the upper pond. Upper pond just right opposite the sort of solar clothesline. And the human manure system. Probably the topic of another one of these films. But anyhow, this pond fills up. It will be a food pond. We're hoping to integrate the ecology of a local, well, Franklin Pond, local lake, at least with bluegills and catfish and crawdads and some edible snails and whatever we come up with. And then this pond overflows into the wetlands. It's guarded by the horrible invasive arundo with which we built our house and, of course, filter our water and do other things. This pond is the result of our sand mine. It's the hole where we took all the sand to make mud to create the house and the surrounding walls. Now we'll just take a walk down here by the wetlands. We're entering in the kitchen gardens, which are all just exposed, so you can see pretty well. Just took all the leftovers from the summer crops and pulled them out. And so this is the other side of that wetlands area, that arundo, and it just goes on forever. And this zone is right in the outdoor kitchen. You see the nest boxes where the chickens lay their eggs and that sort of thing. And at the end of the wetlands, we have a little simulated stream. Comes down by our canna forest. Boy, that arrowroot's good to eat. At any rate, it goes down into an area of watercress and mint and into a little, I don't know, sediment recovery hole. Just a little zone here. It's got a nice sound. And you can clean muck and stuff out. And then, this is the front patio. And we go over to the sort of main pond. This pond's got just a lot of life in it. And so we watch that every day we're here, and the quality of life in that pond tells us how the quality of life of our freshwater. That's the only way we measure it. Mostly this vegetation here is cattail. So now I'm moving around kind of to the north side of the house. This pond has overflown. There's the end of it. And there's underground here until it comes out in the zone where we first saw the intake filter. Only now it's coming out right here's this. That's the intake filter where we started. And I don't know if I can show you or it matters, but there's water running out there, and it goes through a riparian zone. And so everything that's growing here is just being constantly watered by that Greywater loop going back to the reservoir. There's a second one here that's not being used. Here's one you can see coming up. You should be able to see the main water coming in there. We again pulled up all the summer vegetables. These were just huge jungles, but even now you can't really see the riparian zone. Eventually water is recovered down here and returns to the reservoir, and that's our Greywater loop. Thanks for watching.